Hi, I'm Melissa. Welcome to Wed and Worth It. We're going to have transparent conversations around budgets and walk through the emotional journey that is wedding planning. We're going to discuss the value of investing in meaningful moments and the joy that comes from creating an experience for yourselves and your loved ones. We talk to newly married couples to find out, was it worth it? I am so excited to have Regina with me today. She is all the way over on the East Coast in New York, and we're going to chat about her destination that her and her lovely husband David had. Regina, tell me about yourself. How'd you all meet? How'd you guys get engaged? Go for it.
Hey everyone, I'm Regina. Like Melissa said, I live in New York City, and I've been with my now husband for 8 years now. We originally met when he was interviewing at my old job. He was like a visiting professor, and he was looking to do a postdoctoral position at that company. And so I remember like I was like the liaison for the day. I was supposed to like show him around, get him to
Oh.
where he needs to go. I just remember like seeing him and I was like, wow, this is the cutest boy I've ever seen.
Were you able to be casual, like act professional, or?
I think I was pretty professional
Okay.
about it, but I remember telling my sisters about it like same day. I was like, this guy is so cute. And then he also lived in South Carolina for 10 years at that point, and he had like the really cute Southern twang. So
Oh.
I thought that was so adorable. And then yeah, so it was love at first sight for me, but I don't know how it was for him. And then we didn't actually like get together officially until like a year later. I had already left that job. Um, and I think at one point I came on to him pretty strong and I was like, I think there's something here and we should try to pursue it. Um, and both of us also have a pretty similar background where we were both married then. Um, Separated at the point when we already met, but
Okay.
he was going through a divorce. I was going through a separation, so it was just a really interesting timing for both of us. Um, and then we kind of weave through life differently than like a traditional path. So we live together as you do in New York City because like it's so expensive
It's
to live here. So
yes.
after dating for a year, we decided to live together. And then almost maybe separated shortly after that just because it was really difficult to um, be roommates in the beginning, and we navigated through that okay afterwards. And then during COVID, we moved to the West Coast because we always wanted to live on the West Coast. So we did like a 2 year stint in Santa Monica, came back to New York, and we bought our apartment, had a baby, and then
Oh.
after having a baby, I think I decided I wanted to get married. So there was no like official proposal.
Okay.
There was no romantic proposal that happened.
It was a
But
mutual.
it was a mutual decision. Like, yeah, baby came first, and then um, yeah, I think it was a year later after having the baby and coming off like that newborn fog.
That's a big fuck.
It was really tough. Well, we made it through, and then yeah, we decided I want to have a wedding. I've never had a wedding before, even though I've been married before. I've never had a wedding. No, it's a big life milestone that I wanted to experience with him. So we both decided, yeah, let's have a wedding.
I love that. So
Yeah.
when did you decide to, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. Decide to have a wedding to, like, how long did you guys give yourself to plan, essentially?
It was in total a year. So
Okay.
April 2023 was when we decided we're gonna have a wedding.
Okay.
And I think we set the date for the following year. It was like we set the date for April 4th, 2025. Oh, sorry, 2024. Sorry.
Okay, I
April
was like, wait, wait,
2024.
wait.
Yeah. Yeah, April 2024 was when we decided we were gonna have a wedding, and then we set the date for April of 2025.
Okay, and so, like, side note, I think out of everyone I've chatted with so far, you're like the most, what's the word? You're like the most fresh bride.
Yeah.
Like, so right now at the time of the recording, it's May. So it's just over a month ago. So you like just celebrated your 1 month anniversary.
Correct. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was your wedding in New York? That's my first question. Where did you plan your wedding?
No, it wasn't. We had it in Mexico City.
Okay.
Um, our family and friends are pretty dispersed all over the US, and then my parents live in the Philippines. So
Okay.
we needed to find a way for most of the people that we knew were going to come to the wedding to have an easy destination wedding, but I also needed to have a destination where my parents could go to fairly
Mm,
easily. That is not going to be the US. So we decided on a few places actually in Central America. We even thought about Costa Rica at one point because I thought I wanted to have a beach wedding. And then we thought about Mexico City because we were there in 2022 and really loved
okay.
it and thought it was like pretty easy to get to. I love cities. I've lived in big cities my whole life. I used to live in Manila. Now I live in New York City. So I love the city energy. And we thought, well, like, why not Mexico City? It's a beautiful country. It's a beautiful city, great food. And we weren't gonna resort to like an all-inclusive wedding that I definitely didn't want if we
Yeah.
were gonna have like a beach wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of the all inclusive. I, I just feel like there's a lot of things to navigate with that. It's a little, well, I haven't planned my own wedding, a destination wedding, but it just feels like there's more options to do your own
Right.
thing.
Right.
Okay, so you landed on Mexico City. What was the guest count? What did you start with it
Right.
with that?
So I think we sent out invites to around 90 people, and in the end, we had just a little under 50, 48 actually to be exact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that what you were expecting?
Yes, exactly. We actually prepared for 50, so when we were doing all the planning, I was getting quotes for 50 people
Oh,
because
wow.
I don't know, for some reason I just knew that we were gonna land around that number, 50, and yeah, I think we
Yeah.
hit it right on the mark.
Okay, so and then before we get started, what was your original budget?
Oh my gosh. It was it was a sliding scale. I mean, before we really started planning the wedding, I thought my budget was 30K because
Okay.
that's what everybody said was the average cost of wedding was
Where's
30K.
every okay, where's everybody? Like what does everybody mean? What are those sources? Cuz I need to know as
Right.
a photographer what these sources are.
Right. I think I found it on the Knot, and then Zola Brides also said 25 to 30K was the average spend. So it was all around the internet.
It,
Although I didn't actually ask like my friends who had recent weddings how much they spent because it varied like
yeah,
geographically and then
sure.
also like the size of the wedding. But I feel like they would have been a better indicator of what actually it would have cost. So
I
yeah, we started at 30.
Okay, that's literally like a third of why I started this podcast is
Hmm.
because there's resources like the Knot, and we love the Knot for certain things, but there's a lot of frustration on the vendor side of things that are like, why are y'all telling these newly engaged couple that weddings cost this much? Because that is not accurate at all anymore. So that's good to know that just kind of confirms like, oh, that's why we're chatting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I found out really quick that 30K wasn't gonna cut it.
Yeah.
And one of the first venues that we looked at was cost like a third of that 30K budget. So I was like, well, how is it possible that it's gonna supposed to cost me 30K when
Mm.
just the venue alone with nothing in it, not
Yeah.
even furniture,
No, just
catering,
walls.
just walls, yeah, just the venue was gonna cost me 10K off the bat, and yeah, so that became a real sliding scale. So we started at 30, and then 40K, and then it became 50K. But in the end, like all in all, it cost us about 80K.
About 80K. Okay, so what were your like going into it, what were your priorities? Obviously a destination wedding, so just the place in of itself. And then what else became important in that planning process?
I think first and foremost, what was important to me is getting my family together. Like that was like if in the end all I had was my family and my fiance,
Mhm.
I think, and of course like his family, but um m- my parents live in the Philippines, so I don't see them that often,
Yeah.
and then my brother lives in Vegas, so the chance for us to really like get together was the biggest thing for me. So that was like my priority number one is just to get the family together, and
Mhm.
also it was the first time Dave's family and my family were meeting for the first time. Like my parents had
Oh,
met before, so it was a way for just connectivity all around.
yeah.
And then I also wanted to have good food just like everybody else, like because everybody talks about the food at the wedding, either whether it was really good or it was really bad. I knew like Mexican food is loved by all.
Yes.
It's really hard pressed to find people who don't like Mexican food,
Mhm.
so I knew that was also a priority for me. And then the other priority I had was for the wedding to like reflect us and not like reflect
Mm.
what a wedding should be. And I needed it to really like speak our values and also like speak to our personality. And I think, and then lastly, what we really focused on was comfort because
Mm.
we have a toddler, we and our families, also our friends, they have young children. We're at that point in our lives where everybody has children or are having children, so we needed to make sure to accommodate for a lot of that because we wanted everybody to have a good time,
Yes.
and maybe not in the sense like we're partying all night. Maybe in our 20s it would have been the case, but
Yes.
now it's so different. We just needed to everybody to have a good time and be comfortable. So in that sense we also prioritize that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that is such a different vibe than I think what you hear a lot of is prioritizing families. Yeah, because usually it's like, so how do we like cut out children but do it in a nice way? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, when I was looking in the subreddits, I was deep in all the subreddits about wedding, and the theme of like no children in weddings came up so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point I even started doubting myself. I was like, should I have children in my wedding?
Mm,
But that got squashed pretty early on because like we have children. So
yeah.
yeah, like from the get-go there was going to be children.
Yeah.
So
Literally, a VIP is a child.
right, right, exactly. So um yeah, it's a very different vibe for sure. I think it would have been different too if we didn't have kids. Maybe we would have not entertained the idea of having a child-friendly
Sure.
wedding. Yeah.
How many children ended up coming? Is that like a weird question to ask?
No,
Like,
no. So in the end, we had about 8 children, between 8 to 10 children. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, if
that's
you're
like a
counting
solid.
like 10 and under.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a solid percentage of,
right. Especially
I
if we
guess,
only
most.
had 48. So that's
Exactly.
almost a
Yeah.
quarter of the
Yeah.
guest list. Yeah,
So once you had your venue, did you bring on a planner?
we did. Yeah. We thought it was important to have a planner for sure.
It is important to have a planner.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think so, at least.
yeah. I mean, destination weddings was
Yeah.
already complicated in and of itself, and plus we both have full-time jobs, and
Yeah.
we're a parent to a toddler,
Yeah.
and also like navigating um, cultural and language differences
Mm,
was not something I wanted to embark on my own. And so we thought we needed to have somebody local, like boots on the ground, and really knew
yes.
like the landscape of the wedding industry in that location, was really important. Like that was the first vendor I actually engaged because I thought we needed to start with a planner.
Absolutely. So how
Yeah.
did you go about finding, or how did you find your planner?
Google. I actually got them through Wedding Wire.
Okay.
They had some, I ended up interviewing four in total,
Okay.
and I found like really high profile like wedding planners in Mexico City through Instagram, but I actually ended up finding the one that we had eventually hired through Wedding Wire. They had really great reviews, and having worked with them for a whole year, highly recommend. They were
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
What was the deciding factor on, like, what made you go with the planner?
Yeah, that's such a good question. So in the end, it was about vibes. All of them were fantastic on their own. Like, the portfolio speaks for itself. Like I could see what they've worked on, what they've done. So, um, fitting my aesthetics with theirs was important, but also I knew I was going to work this with this person very closely for a whole year. So I needed somebody to first like would really listen to me, but also just have good vibes between us
Yeah.
because I'm gonna be communicating with this person very regularly for a whole year. So, um, if that is dreadful to me, then why hire them? Yeah,
It
so
is it's
yeah,
a very
vibes.
intimate relationship. It really is.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
And part of that load that I was talking about earlier was also like not being able to like talk to my planner anymore on a daily basis made me really sad. Yeah, several weeks, like a couple weeks after the wedding, I still texted him. I was like, "Hey guys, how are you?"
Wait, we're
I know we all just kind of fell off there. We don't talk anymore.
That's there was I'm thinking of one specific wedding where at the end the bride was just in tears and she was like, "But wait, like I'm gonna miss like talking to you, like both of you guys."
Yes,
I was like,
100%.
I was
Yes,
like,
I
"We're
felt
still
that way
friends.
too.
Don't worry. I'm gonna be your best friend forever." Just I'll be cheer. I'm like still cheering couples on. They've had like multiple kids. I'm like I'm you're forever like a cheerleader on the side, you know?
Yeah, and that's exactly the approach I took too. Like I'm gonna be your cheerleader from the side. If anybody ever approaches me about weddings in Mexico City, I'll make sure to
I
recommend.
know.
And I keep following them on Instagram, liking their stuff because they're really fantastic.
And that I'm sure like means the absolute world to her.
Oh,
Like,
I'm
you
glad.
know,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So from hiring your planner, so like what was kind of the action plan after that? Or did you
Right.
like take like a breath and like, okay, now we have a minute to breathe, or did you get on some other vendors or what?
So once we hired our planner, I asked them to come up with venue suggestions just because, like I said, I'm not familiar with Mexico City. We've only been there once and we
Yeah.
didn't do, um, we didn't look at venues when we were there. And I think I also knew at that point that maybe I wasn't gonna make a trip to Mexico City to um, go through all of these venues and maybe find other vendors. So first and foremost, I asked them for the venue suggestions, and I know myself that I know I get pretty overwhelmed very quickly. And so one of the mandate that I gave them was like for each vendor, starting with the venue, I would like for you to only give me like three options
I love that.
um, to
We love
really
self-awareness.
yes, like I need to have parameters. I need,
Yes.
I need some guidelines here, um, and yeah, they delivered on that. I told
Mm,
them what I'm looking for in a venue. Part of that was to have accommodations on site, because like I said, we have a small child, and we needed to have um just accessibility to our room whenever we
yeah.
need to. And so actually, there's not a lot of places that are not hotels that have that requirement. Like not big hotels, I mean, not
Yeah.
big hotels that have that requirement. So yeah, I asked them to give me some suggestions and they gave me three. And we actually came to a decision really quickly on the venue just because it checked all the boxes that we were looking for. Like need to
So,
have accommodations, yeah.
so you were able to make that decision without
Very
being in
quickly.
person very quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I trusted a lot of like A, their perspective, and then B, what was available to me online.
Did
Um,
did you make any trips out there while you were planning or no?
no,
Oh
yeah.
my
So
gosh.
everything was a lot of it was sight unseen, and most of the actually all the vendors we made an intentional decision that all vendors were going to be local,
Okay.
and so we didn't meet the vendors beforehand. We didn't look at the venues beforehand. So a lot of it was putting trust on our
The
planner.
planner. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
that's huge.
It
That's
was really, yeah,
and planners are very like I feel like they're kind of like this elusive thing in the wedding industry where it's like hard to get in their circle. You can't just go ask them for lunch. They're just tired of people being like, "Can I get on your vendor list?" because they're like, no, you can't.
Oh, okay.
They're like, we are referring people to you, and like that's a huge reflection of our business. And we can't just be like, oh, so and so took me out to lunch, so I trust them with my clients. Like, no, that's not how this works. It's like a years long relationships building. It's a lot for them to just be like, hey, I have this person that lives in New York City. They're coming down for their wedding in a year, and it's going to be all vendors I've recommended. These have to be people that I know are going to treat my clients well. It's a lot of responsibility on their shoulders. So I love
Oh,
that.
wow.
I love knowing that like that worked out.
It really did, but that's such a helpful perspective just because I never actually saw it that way. Um, I didn't realize that maybe I was putting some pressure on the vendor to deliver on, oh, I'm sorry, to pressure on my planner to deliver on the vendors that they would recommend. But it
Yeah.
also speaks to like the relationships these vendors establish just from working together like over and over again.
Oh yeah, I mean and it's not like pressure necessarily. It just comes with the territory of being a planner, with being a planner, especially in a popular destination city. In Scottsdale, there's a lot of people that come here for a destination wedding as well. So there's people that I don't meet until the wedding day, and
Wow, okay.
so
Yeah,
similarly, it's like they're a planner is like, no, I trust that this person's going to give you a really great experience. You don't need to meet with them beforehand. I've worked with them enough to know. So yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot that is riding on the planner's recommendations.
right.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing the really good thing I liked about our planners too is that for some vendors they were really open to suggestions. Like for instance, for hair and makeup, they came with three recommendations, and for one of them, they highly recommended this makeup artist whom like they worked with in the past, and I think they also have like a personal relationship with. And when I was going through the recommendations for hair and makeup, I thought that really none of them fit my aesthetic. Like none of them really fit like what I'm looking for. And I even interviewed all three of them with my planner. And in
Mm-hmm.
the end, I found somebody else while I was going through like Instagram and Google that I thought would be a better fit for me. And they were super open to me like putting forth this recommendation and
Oh, good.
then not going through like the recommended vendors. And so I felt like having that open relationship, like open communication, and also just being open to feedback was really important.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think well, and that's where it's tricky with with the relationship with the planners, because there's a lot of really great vendors who don't get the opportunity because they don't have that established relationship, right?
right,
And so like I think you probably also like, wedding aside, it created this opportunity for those people to work together maybe for the first time. And there's stories where it could go totally backwards, and the
right,
planner's like, I don't know who this person is, but like I'm in charge of making sure this day goes well. But
right,
they didn't take my recommendation. There's like two sides. So it's
of
always
course,
great
yeah.
when it's works out so well, and it creates an opportunity for a new relationship to be built. And I love too that you trusted your gut too. They're like,
Mhm.
hey, I think these people are great, but that's just not quite the vibe I'm going for. Like, what if
Right.
we explore other options? I think that is
Mhm.
super important, especially with hair and makeup. I mean, I can make a case for everything being the most important, but
That's
I'm
true.
like, hair and makeup, like that's a big deal on the wedding day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you do like, oh, you didn't fly down there.
I
So
didn't
you
do a
didn't do a
trial.
trial.
I didn't do a trial, no. I eventually did a trial the day before the
Okay, that
wedding.
was going to be my
Yeah.
question. Was it for like the rehearsal or something? Okay.
Correct, yeah, which, I was able to use it for our welcome party. But yes, that was also, I guess, a pretty big gamble.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked out beautifully. They were one of my favorite vendors, and
Oh.
we really vibed, and they created such like a calm environment for our getting ready, which I thought was really important to me. And it wasn't hectic. They delivered on time, and they brought like the best people on their team. So It worked out really well.
I love that. I feel like
Yeah,
hair and makeup is like kind of like the calm before the storm.
exactly. Yeah, and it really like dictates the rest of your day. Because if you run long or if they run late, that affects the whole timeline.
Well, yeah, because then we
Yeah,
show up on scene and we're like,
we're not done
"Hey,
yet.
we got a
Yeah.
timeline we're supposed to be sticking to."
Correct. Yeah. No, they were on it. They were really on point.
Did you have a bridal party, or how many people were doing hair and makeup? How did that
Yeah,
work?
so I didn't have an official bridal party, but
Okay.
I did invite my two sisters, my mother and my fiance's mom, plus his sister and her daughter, to get ready with us. So
Okay.
it was a total of 7 people because I also invited my niece who was our flower girl. She's 3, to get her hair done. So yeah, a
Hmm.
total of 7, and then they brought, I believe, 6 people with them.
Oh,
So the
wow.
hair and makeup team was pretty big, which I thought was also important for me because it wasn't gonna risk like I know somebody was telling me like they work fast, so they don't need a big team when I was doing the interviews for hair and makeup. But I thought like, no, I need people. I need a big team because it's a big group.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is a decent amount of people for hair and
right.
makeup. Yeah.
Hmm.
I thought about going back to food real quick. How did that go with having a planner and recommending, like,
Yeah,
not being able to do a tasting?
yeah. Yeah. Like everything else, we just went blind.
Like, well, I hope hope there's some good tacos.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's really like crossing our fingers and praying that everything worked out. But the catering company that we eventually landed with was amazing. And when actually after we booked them, knowing that we weren't going to do a tasting beforehand, um, I found that they catered one of the weddings that was featured on Vogue wedding.
Oh,
So I was like,
okay.
okay, so I guess that was a great choice. Even if I don't test whatever they're serving, I know that, somebody else had done the vetting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty good of a
They
choice.
tasted good enough to be in Vogue.
Correct. Yeah, correct. So I was like, wow, okay. Also, I was like, wow, these vendors are getting featured on Vogue. They're big deals.
Yeah, that is,
Yeah.
it's a big deal to be featured on Vogue. It's huge. Yeah. Holy cow.
But
That
also, like
sounds,
I said, it was Mexico City, and we've been there before. We've had food in Mexico City. It's such. I don't know if you've been there,
mm-mm, I have not.
but it's such a great like city for wonderful food, great cuisine, and the tacos is just like no other.
Well, I feel like I have to go just because of the tacos.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes. That was our late night snack was tacos.
Oh, okay. What was
Yeah.
I should ask. I'm like, what was your main course?
What was our main course? So it was the main course was steak and some carbs with
Okay.
vegetables. And then we also had an option for vegetarian and fish for those who don't like red meat. So
Okay.
I had the fish and then my husband had the steak. It was delicious. And then they also course, they did dessert. It's like an option between a tres leches panna cotta and then some
Mm.
Oaxacan chocolate tart. It was
Oh,
amazing. Yeah, it was really, really good.
it sounds incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing food. Yes, no notes. And
No,
I
no.
actually, and when I spoke to my vendor, I was like, when I spoke to our planner, I told him like, I'm not gonna pass up eating at my wedding. Like I need to eat,
Yes.
and I need you to make sure that I will eat each course.
Yes.
Um,
Enjoy the
and enjoy,
food.
yes, enjoy the food. And I did. I was so full at my wedding, actually.
That's nice. I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's not uncommon. It's so easy to be like, oh wait, being pulled in so many different directions. Were there any other vendors that like it was like a notable experience deciding to book, especially from afar through a planner?
No, it kind of just came pretty. It kind of just came together pretty seamlessly and easily. We also did it in batches, like the big vendors we booked pretty early on, and then in their timeline. he was like, okay, you need to make a decision on these vendors.
Hmm.
And then a few months later, we booked other vendors. And so I think the only other one, the big one was the photographer, of
Hmm.
course. Um, and that one I actually also like booked on my own. Like I found her on Instagram, and then I found um, her website with the photos that she's taken in the past. And I really connected with her when we had our first initial consultation. So that wasn't actually through my planner, and I was able to
Okay.
like, yeah, I was able, I think I booked her at the same time as my planner actually.
Okay. I
And
feel like that happens often
yeah, and that was one vendor that actually really had a hard time deciding.
because there
It
were
was
so many options, or
there were so many options, and the cost was so big that I felt
hmm.
like it was this big decision that I needed to make. And then also just like not knowing how we're gonna drive, and my husband and I are not really like, we're not used to being photographed that much. I How was I gonna decide on this person who I'm not gonna meet until we
Yeah.
get there? And it's such a big commitment with um like how much we're gonna pay her.
Yeah. What were, so like on my end when I'm chatting with people or when I think about what couples think about when they're looking at my work, I envision that like if a bride comes across my Instagram, she'll like, can she imagine her and her fiance in my photos? Like that is kind of how I think they're you're thinking. Is that true or is that not true? Like how did you go about, like was it the feeling of the photos, how they were posing people, how they weren't posing people, like what, and then after that you're like, okay, let's see if personality wise we actually get along.
Well, that's such a good question. Yeah. And that was also one of the questions that she posed on us was like, why me? Why are you thinking about hiring me? And the main thing that I could recall telling her was, um, her pictures had like just a veil of love, and
Hmm.
sounds so cheesy, but like I can feel like the love through the pictures. And also she had a knack for um photographing in the city, which I thought
Hmm.
was really important because I wanted Mexico City to be like
I mean, that's a big
so
thing.
another, yeah,
Yeah.
like a supporting character in our photos. Like I wanted somebody to be able to capture that we're in this beautiful, vibrant city, and not just take photos of us in the venue
Just like
where
up close, yeah.
there's that you can't discern where we are.
Mm,
And so I thought she did a really good job with that, as far as like what I could see from her portfolio was she really took like her couples like on the street, like doing their thing, eating tacos, just putting all those elements in the photo, is what really like drew me to her.
I love that. I love that. And then when you got on the phone, I
Yeah,
kind of love that. So I've asked that question before too in consultations, like, hey, like what drew you to my work? I just feel like there's so many photographers, number
there's
one,
so
and
many. Yeah,
there's so many, and there's a lot of really good photographers. So it's like, what, I'm just like genuinely curious, like what made you reach out to me, you know?
right, right.
So yeah, and two, like I love to say it, but I'm like it's like a two-way street. Like I want to work with you as much as you want to work with me.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm realizing too in the whole wedding planning. It's very much a two-way street. I mean, there's some vendors where, you don't really need to have a relationship with them,
Yeah,
or not to have like as close a relationship, but um you need to be comfortable around these people that you're hiring day of, especially they're going to be spending a lot of time with you, and they're going to be like in your face,
in your business.
literally. They're gonna be in your face, and you need to be comfortable with that, and also just like having them around.
Yeah, I mean, it really adds. They're helping you create the atmosphere of your day, and just and adding to it. Like even in those
Right,
moments, like we were talking about beforehand, like where a photographer needs to like back up and like let the moment happen. But there are times where I need to come in and like be a part of that moment or direct that moment. And you have to
right,
know, like, is this person not just going to drive with me? Are they going to drive with everybody that is my friends and family? So
right, right,
yeah,
right. I
yeah,
completely agree with that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just a wild, it's a lot to navigate. I think on the outside, it's like, oh, it's a wedding. It's a wedding. It's just one day. But then, like, as you get into it, like you said, it's just it's a lot of really big decisions. And
Right,
two, that's like one of the reasons I also wanted to start this podcast is I am really interested. I'm like, I tend to find people towards like the beginning of the journey. Like you said, you hired your photographer around the same time you hired your planner. And I'd
right.
say for me, it's like, probably like 75% of the time people have their planner and
Hmm.
then they come to me, and then 25% of the time, like, they're coming to me, they don't have a date, they don't have a venue, they have nothing, and it's just like complete overwhelm. Like, it's just like bam, wedding planning is in my face. And so it's just an interesting to hear like how people go along in their planning journey. So
Hmm.
yeah. So how far in advance did you fly out there? Like, how far in advance were you in Mexico City?
Yeah, so our wedding was on a Friday and we got there on Tuesday. So
Okay.
not a lot of time, but we did have some activities lined up for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we had like a very casual thing the day after. But for the most part, we thought like a couple of days before was good enough. And then also, our kid is in daycare, so we didn't want to take him out of that too much and have to do childcare by ourselves
Yeah.
um, for an extended period of time. So yeah, we got
How
there on a Tuesday.
What were the activities that you had beforehand?
Yeah, so we did Xochimilco, which is like a boat tour of like this really they call it like the Venice of Mexico City. It's a really like iconic spot. So we did that. We got like three boats to take us around this like canal. And there's food and there's also music and there's plenty of other vendors like floating around that if you want to take part in. So
Oh.
we did that for half a day and on Wednesday, and then Thursday we did a welcome party at a really traditional, like, really old Mexican restaurant in downtown. And then we also did karaoke,
That's so fun.
just yeah, just to loosen everybody up. We also did all of our speeches that night,
Mm.
because we wanted to like just not do that day of.
Were all 48 guests at the welcome? Okay. I assume, but I don't want to
Yeah, so
assume.
most people arrived Wednesday. So we only had about like 75 of our guests join for the boat tour because if you
Okay.
wanted to join for the boat tour, you needed to arrive Tuesday at the same time as us.
Were
But
were those things also included in your final budget?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So we included them. Yeah. So the 80K includes all of that.
Okay.
Plus our attire also was included in that.
Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if that was like a whole separate budget.
Hmm.
Inquiring minds, curious minds.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I just dump it all in. Like
Yeah,
anything wedding related for that week was part
that's
of
how
that
I would do it
spreadsheet.
too.
Yeah.
I just, yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a welcome party, karaoke, and then tell me about the wedding day. How did that actually? Hair and makeup, you said it was calm. They set the mood.
Yes. Wedding day was pretty relaxed actually. Because everything was in the same venue where we were staying, so we didn't have to like move around too much and think about
Mm.
transportation. And so we didn't start hair and makeup for the full group until like 9 a.m., which we thought was decent time because
Yeah.
I've been at weddings where they started me at 7,
Oh yeah, you gotta be up and
7
at
a.m.
it. Yeah, the alarm clock goes off real fast.
Exactly. Yeah, so it was fairly relaxed. And when it was time for me, I think I started around 11:30. So I got in like a good breakfast. I even like was just wandering around the venue, looking at all the setup because they were also doing that in other parts. Yeah, it was fairly relaxed. Then one thing that my one of my friends who had a wedding recently really like seared in my brain was like she lost track of time. And
Mm.
so she didn't get to do like her first look and she didn't get to do her family
Oh,
photos before the ceremony itself. So I was really fixated on that for some reason.
aware of the time.
Right, like I was really fixated on making sure we're on time, but then again, like my wedding planner was there, he was also keeping time. My sisters also, I tasked them to keep time, so we were really good on time.
Okay, I was like, I'm
Yeah,
assuming maybe your photographer was a little aware of it too. I don't
no, no,
know.
she was also good. Like she got there on time with her second photographer, so um, everything kind of went really smooth. So like there were no like hiccups. The only hiccup that I had was I forgot that I didn't pay my our photo booth. Um, and we none of us realized it until that day, and they were collecting payment
Oh.
like for the last payment right before like the ceremony. So that was the only hiccup I had was
Whoops.
forgot to pay her. I forgot to pay them, and they wanted payment before starting the service, which makes sense.
That's,
Um,
that's fair. Although I wouldn't like, I mean, I would show up, but like, I don't know. That's so funny. If
yeah,
that's the only hiccup, I mean, hey, that's a
yes.
win.
I mean, it was the only hiccup, but like I think like in hindsight afterwards, there were some things that I feel like could have gone better, or some things that I thought I could have changed. Um,
Okay.
but overall, I was like really happy with it. It was like the decision that we made, and um,
Well, what's one of those
everything.
decisions that maybe you would have changed? I'm so curious.
One of there were a few. So, like I said in the beginning, like the main priority for us was like family, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize like the the importance of this wedding for my family as well.
Mm.
Like it's not just for me, but it was also for them. I was like the first person in my family to have a wedding. And so I wish that I had involved them more in the planning
Mm.
and also in the wedding itself. Like I thought I wanted to have like a non-traditional wedding. We're not religious people, so we wanted to opt out of certain things that kind of reflect that. And then also, you know, my husband was married before, and he was like, there's some things that I don't really care about, so we should just not do them. But yeah, in the end, I felt like not having a wedding party, not having a bridal party. In hindsight, I kind of wish I did. I kind of wish I
Okay.
like, yeah, I assigned my sisters as my official bridesmaids, you know, like they could have been with me more rather than just
Yeah.
like being there. Honestly, I just didn't want to burden people because
Mm.
when I was reading on Reddit, like some of the posts, like there's a lot of venting about like, oh, I'm a bridesmaid and can't believe like the bride had made me do this, and
Mm.
that really kind of like scarred me for some reason, and I didn't want to do that to them. And there was a lot of posts about people no longer being friends with the bride after the wedding, and like I knew I wasn't gonna be a bridezilla, but still I was really
That's
worried about,
scary.
yeah, about like burdening them with certain things.
And I think it's
And
so
then
hard to ease, like, but like on the flip side of that, like, who's in Reddit posting, "Oh my gosh, I love this so much." Like, it's
that's
always
true,
like this the
that's true.
squeaky wheel that
Yeah,
gets the grease, right? There's so many people that are so happy to be a part
right,
of it and want to serve you,
exactly.
serve their closest friends in that way.
Yeah, so I think I should have, I wish I had embraced that mindset a little bit more. Like people want to be there for me, like they flew out there for us.
Yeah.
Um, like they want to be a part of it and they're excited for us. And we only get this one day of this like people so focused on the couple. So, and I wish I just embraced that a little bit
Mm.
more. And, I wish we also did the parent dances. We didn't do that because like again we didn't want to burden our parents with it,
Mm.
and we also chose to do the speeches the night before because a lot of people complain about speeches for some reason at weddings, and so
Okay.
we were like, yeah, well, let's just do that, let's just get it out of the way. And we also wanted to give like a more informal like stage, not to put too much pressure on the people who were giving speeches. um, but I feel like it would have been really special to have it the night of.
It's
Um,
so I quick interruption, but I
yeah,
feel like when I first started photography, I was like similarly, I'm like speeches should be no longer than 90 seconds. That's it.
right,
All right, I'm
right,
over
right.
it. But now I feel so I've almost like totally flipped the switch and I feel like it's very counter I feel like it's what are they called? unpopular, what is it called?
Yes, yes.
Like
Yeah, unpopular
I
opinions or like
unpopular
unpopular
yes.
trends. Yeah.
I have come, and maybe I've already talked about this on the podcast. Who freaking
Mhm.
knows? But I have come to love speeches, and especially like I think my couple. There's all types of different couples, but a lot of my couples tend to like fly under the radar and are like very quiet, maybe a little bit more introverted. And so to have like 15 minutes or whatever it is for people to like publicly love on these people, and like how many times do you get to have that in your life? Not
Right.
often. So it's like I was just at a
Exactly.
wedding and I was like, yes, Dad, please speak for 15 minutes about your precious baby girl growing up and meeting this man that you've also come to love. And while it's emotional for you to hand her off, like you couldn't be
Hmm.
like I want to hear all of it. Please tell
Right.
me all of it. So I totally get what you're saying. Speeches do
Yeah.
have a bad rap, and I get why. Like they can go south really quick. They can go
Hmm.
on way too long, but for the most part, they're so special, and you don't get that opportunity often in life to
Yeah.
speak publicly about people you love and also receive it. So,
Right. Yes. I mean, it's not that we completely like opted out of that. We did, like I said, we did it
yeah.
at the welcome party. But also because we opted out of a lot of like those traditional things,
Mm.
it kind of it kind of like put our timeline as far as like the reception a little bit odd, to be honest, because
Oh.
I felt like people were expecting certain things at certain time, and because we didn't have those, people were just kind of like not standing around, but like when is this gonna come out or when is that gonna
Mm.
happen? And I also felt like a lot of people like don't stay for the party, right? So especially like, the older people, they just want
Yeah.
to get like the first dance out of the way, cake cutting and speeches,
Let me
and
get
since
my piece of cake and then we're out.
right. And because like we didn't have like at one point like people realized that they're not gonna have that. Uh some people just like, oh, I guess it's time for me to
Mm.
leave now. Like there's nothing for me to like stick around for.
Okay.
And I think maybe we could have extended like the party vibes a little bit more if we had actually those things
You had
part
more
of the
events
timeline.
happening.
Right, right, yeah. But I mean, overall, it was great. We loved it. But if I were to do it again, I would definitely include all of those
I love that because I
back in the
think there's
timeline.
a lot of I don't know, I feel like not maybe not necessarily like a trend, but like we're not doing all of these things. We don't want it to be a wedding. But at the same time it's like this is the one of the only times that you get
Right,
to do those
exactly.
types of things. So
Yeah.
I
I mean,
appreciate
it's
that perspective.
definitely, yeah, I was definitely in that mindset in the beginning where, oh, this is just gonna be a party, you know. You know, both of us have been married before, so it's kind of weird to have like a very traditional wedding
Mm.
when this is our second one. So, I was definitely in that mindset that I just need my family to get together for a party and to celebrate us. So, and I don't need all of the things that come with like a wedding. So I was definitely in that mindset, like we can we can get away with a lot of things that we don't want. And then like in hindsight, I think I actually did want those. I just didn't
Mm.
know it in the beginning. Because I don't know what I don't know until
Yeah.
it happened. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
I think that's some really great reflection because
Hmm.
and I think that's super helpful maybe for people who are planning their wedding to hear. Like if you're going back and forth, maybe just do the dang thing that you aren't quite sure.
Right. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? And
Yeah.
nothing really. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if it's like a parent dance. Like, what is that? 3 minutes? Like,
Right. Yeah,
you
exactly.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. And with the parent dances, like my my husband didn't want to do it because like they didn't really have a culture of like dancing in their family, and I didn't want like his mom to feel left out if I were to do it with my mom.
Mm.
But I mean, the pictures for that would have been amazing if I did it,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
my parents are getting older, so who knows, what would happen. But just like, yeah, being in the same country with my family is so rare that I think I would have loved having all of those moments with
Mm.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so valid. I think that's
Hmm.
so valid to hear that. Um, so we're like just over a month out from
Yeah.
the wedding. What are our thoughts and feelings?
Thoughts and feelings, like I said earlier, I'm really sad that it's over. I was a little like I was really down in the dumps a few weeks afterwards just because I was like, I can't believe it's over, and like I'm no longer talking to my wedding planner,
Yeah.
and I don't have
We have
this
this great
project
thing
that
going.
right, I don't have this big project that I'm working on that I know is gonna be like fun at the end. Yeah, I was a little bit upset that it's over. I'm glad I'm no longer making decisions because that was like the hardest part of the wedding planning, just make constantly making decisions at every turn and big, small decisions. That was a little bit exhausting. Um, Definitely worth it. I would do it again if I had another opportunity. And like I said, like having all that love, like people showing up for you is so rare. Like, when is
Mhm.
that ever going to happen again? So for that moment, I would definitely do it again. 100% worth it.
I love that. Is
Yeah,
that so? I feel like decision fatigue. Everything you said is so real. Decision fatigue is real. Post wedding blues are so real. So much to. It's just like this heightened state for like over a year, and like you kind of said, like not all the eyeballs are on you, but there's just like a lot happening in your world. People want to know how it's going, and then all of a sudden it happens, and it's done. And you're like, but wait, but
right.
wait.
Yeah. It's done. I can't believe it. It's so sad.
I know. And so you are just over a month, like a month and a week or so. I don't know what this is the
Right.
date
Yeah.
today. So have you gotten your photos back?
No, not yet.
Oh,
The
so we're
timeline we
still
were given
waiting.
was 8 weeks, so
Okay.
I'm excited to see that. And actually, our photographer at the time of our wedding is 7 months pregnant, so
Oh.
hopefully we get the photos before she gives birth. And she did say that she was going to try to give us the photos before she gives birth, but
Yeah,
we're kind of cutting it close.
that is
And
cutting it close.
yeah,
But if it were me, I'd be like, I want nothing more than to one, have this baby, and two, to have you have your photos before I have this baby. So
yeah. So hopefully we get
did
that
you
soon.
did you get a sneak peek or anything?
We haven't yet, actually. So
Okay.
I'm really excited of how that looks.
Ah,
But actually, our wedding planner, they brought in a videographer. So we didn't hire a videographer
okay.
just to keep, costs at a reasonable rate.
Yeah,
But they brought their videographer because they bring their own photographer and videographer just to take photos of like their work as part of their
sure.
portfolio. But their videographer took amazing videos of us of the wedding and gave us like a reel for free. And I
Oh,
watched that like everything. It was like a 2-minute reel, but I've been watching that to like relive the wedding, and
oh,
it was like I mean it was a really nice freebie after the wedding because my wedding planner was like, "Here's a gift from us, post
oh.
wedding," and that was really nice.
I
Yeah,
love that. That's so kind of your
yeah, I
planner to
agree.
provide that. Yes,
Yeah, I
I do. I
agree.
feel like video is a whole different, um, it's just a totally different way to re-experience your wedding day.
Yeah, and that was also like another thing that I wish we did. Like,
Yeah.
I would have totally shelled out money for the videos if I knew how good it would turn out. Um, and also like to relive those moments because
Yeah.
it's not the same with photos. We have some also photos from our guests who took it, and they also sent us some videos, but just like a different lens, a different perspective of having all that memories. So
Yeah.
yeah, it
It's
was
two
really
very
nice.
different perspectives.
Right.
100%.
Hmm.
Okay, so you kind of already said it, but I just have to like end with this question. Was it worth it?
Definitely. 100%. Yes. Yes. I mean, at one
Yay.
point I was definitely doubting it, and I was like, this is a lot of money. We've never spent this much money
Mm.
outside of, buying our apartment and for one day, and is it gonna be worth it? All this. It wasn't a very stressful planning process, but it was still a planning process. I
Yeah.
always thought like, is it all worth it? And what really solidified that for me was, you know, the day before we had to leave for Mexico City, my parents still hadn't gotten their visa to get to Mexico.
Oh,
So yeah, it was like a layer of stress that we didn't really need. So
yeah.
um and yeah, the day before I didn't know whether my parents were coming or not. So
Oh my
that was
goodness.
like that was a big thing. And the night before they had to fly, they said we got our passport and we're flying out tomorrow. Because if they weren't gonna fly out tomorrow, they were gonna fly out the next day. It was like a 20-hour flight, so we would have had to like reschedule a lot of things. And at one point, we were all like really pessimistic whether it was gonna happen or not. But
Oh
it
my
was meant to
gosh.
be. Yeah, it was meant to be.
Oh my goodness. Holy cow. Yeah, that's a whole different element. We didn't even touch it.
Yeah, that was a big stressor leading
Yeah.
up to it, and then it was just a big sigh of relief when we finally got it. Like we were in tears because
Oh.
it was gonna be it was gonna I was gonna be a rag
Yeah.
if my
It's
parents weren't
like
there.
literally what you said. It was like to bring the families together.
Right. Exactly. I think the
Oh
whole
my.
point of all of this was, to bring my parents to meet Dave's parents and then just to have all the family together. So
Oh
it
my
would have been
goodness.
pointless. The whole thing would have been pointless if that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Maybe
God.
my response to that question would have been very different if
Yeah.
if that didn't happen.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. I'm so glad they holy cow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a definitely an added pressure too. Like and I mean, I guess that's something to consider when you have people traveling from all over. That's a whole other different timeline that
Right.
you got to be
Yeah.
paying attention to.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad. That makes me extra happy to
Yeah.
know that everybody got to be together. Like what is so special.
It really was. Yeah. And that's why it was worth it.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it was worth it.
Regina, thank you so much for chatting with me. And I
Happy to
loved
be here
hearing
and
about
thank
your.
you.
Yeah, it was so fun. I'm excited to share your experience with everybody.
I hope somebody could take away something valuable from this.
Yeah, I
um,
am sure. If nothing, visas.
yeah, visas, yes, and do it all, do all the things.
Yeah, what would you have one piece of advice?
One
Somebody,
piece of
yeah, for planning a maybe planning a destination wedding.
get a wedding planner. That's my piece of advice. Don't even do it without one. I
I
think your life would be miserable without it.
Oh my goodness, 100%. I agree
Yeah,
with that. Wedding planners are worth it.
100%. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Regina. We'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you were recently married, or if you know somebody who was recently married, who might be super fun to chat with about their wedding planning journey and how they decided to allocate their funds and how everything came together, you can find us on Instagram at Wed and Worth It. There's a form within that bio you can fill out, or just feel free to send us a DM. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you next time.